Welcome. I am Thor, and I appreciate being joined by a guest this evening. I haven't streamed in quite some time. I'm glad to be back on my channel. I got some exciting news. A good friend of mine, Huds, has come on to join me today to have a little brief discussion. And if guys don't know who Huds is, let me just explain my friend. I've known him for a year. Real sociable guy, an expert in relationships and in dating. He is also coaches in a really unique way. His coaching style is to increase your social acuity in social environments and thereby increasing your success in your relationships. He also runs a men's only class that's called First Class. And these are mastermind groups that actually go out Huds. They go out into a city and meet together in different cities and different environments and learn from each other about dating, reconnecting socially in the modern environment. And I'm super excited to have him today. He's going to talk about his very first book. It's about something that I'm horrible with, and that's texting. It's entitled The First Text, How to Spark a Conversation on Dating Apps. Shoot, I'm so old back in the day. I would just fold a note and pass it amongst the desks in high school to the girl I was interested in. So it's a little different. Thank goodness we have an expert. Huds, hand it over to you. Let's have a discussion about your book.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it. Yeah, no, this has been interesting to say the least, especially with these dating apps, with lockdown and everything that went on, having everybody pent up inside and everybody getting addicted to TikTok. Everybody has like the attention span of a gnat. So how do you stand out in this current environment? And I identified this problem. I worked with people on it, and I was like, you know what? Like, I keep getting the same questions over and over and over again. So why don't we break it down and make it as simple as possible? And so that's what the first text is. It is breaking down 5 different styles of openers so that when you match with somebody, you don't have to do any thinking and you can just go ahead and fire something off. And the reason why I think that's so important is because, yes, the world is moving towards that very, technology, short attention span, things like that. And the way I look at it is if I want to do my swipes, it shouldn't be a chore. I want to do it 10 minutes when I'm on the shitter every day. Just make it simple.
What a difference, man. In my day, we did it was kind of like on Saturday night, we drove the strip, which is the main street downtown, and then park in a parking lot. And that's how we socialized. Now you could do it. That meant you were all interested in finding somebody else, hooking up, all that sort of thing. Now you've got these apps that you could sit in the shitter and do the same thing. I just wonder, are the girls on the shitter too?
You know what? I don't know.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. No, I think that's really good though. Efficiency is everything because I'm not a good texter. And for me, I think that the new social skill is being able to communicate via text. And at least for me, I read and assume so much shit into text that's not actually there. I really struggle with it. So for me, text is a real difficult thing to overcome. And I noticed that even in my business environment when we're not dating, texting is so difficult. I just want to pick up the phone and talk. So I can only imagine your only option on a dating app, you can't call them, is to text. So it obviously takes some skill.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that because I love getting on the phone instead. And that's one thing that I do. I coach with my guys is there's a method that I call the 5 for 5. And it's essentially no more than 5 texts from you and no more than 5 texts from her before you guys are on a video chat. Don't waste your effing time. It is just not worth it. And it's crazy. It's because they get so used to the constant texting. Growing up, it's probably like my era of AOL, AIM, Instant Messenger, that everybody is just so used to click-clacking away and like not even thinking about it. And then when you try and actually engage them in a conversation or you try and call them, they get intimidated. They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm trying to break the mold here and give some actionable advice I break it down in 5 different styles for guys to use with whatever would mesh the best with their personality so that they can have the best success possible when they're going out there and doing this.
No, I can absolutely see that. I mean, I have a sample of your book right here, and I think that it's really important you put more thought into it like this. I think this is an underutilized skill that guys learn the hard way, like me. And I send a text, even if it's not in this environment, and then I realize I can't take that text back, and I didn't really mean it that way. So I like the fact. I mean, I think it's okay if we talk a little bit about the styles and what your book contains, and it's very timely because something like this, it's very reasonably priced, and I think it gives you a tremendous value because it gives you something you can use the day you get the book. It's that
Mm-hmm.
simple, and simple things last. And while you've identified the styles, and there's different, I could see different elements of game that creep into each style. Am I wrong?
Oh, you are absolutely right.
So let's talk about it. You have the styles listed as curated, generalization, trigger, thought provoking, and confident, straightforward. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
hand it over to you. Let's talk about how did you come up with these styles? And I'm sure you field test them. Give us some stories.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. So this essentially came from my own experience and just trying things out and seeing what worked, what didn't, and then also hearing the experience of others that I work with. Now, I never like to give, and it's interesting because I really, really appreciate Rolla for saying this. Like, I don't want to give prescriptions. And so, like, that's what I do with my clients. I won't give you the prescription, but I'm going to lead you in that direction. And that's kind of what this book is doing. It's trying to get you to figure out your own style that fits your personality. Now, let's break down these different styles here. Now, the curated is the very simple how everybody would be on a dating app. You go ahead and you're going to message a girl, and you curate your message towards her. You view the whole profile, you figure out what is most important maybe to her in the profile, or what you think is going to elicit a response, and then you say something about it.
Oh, I like
Now,
it. It's kind of like cold reading we would do in person, right?
right, except and that's what gets deeper with the generalization and then the trigger. But the curated is kind of like you could have just a hamster spinning a wheel. It doesn't really matter. You're just kind of observing and responding. And that's why the way that I rate everything in the book is the skill required to make sure that that is actually effective, um, the amount of effort that is required to do so, and then the effectiveness on if this is actually going to land.
Yeah.
Now, with the curated message, you really do. You have to go through all the photos, all the prompts, all things like that. You have to understand this person and then make a comment about it.
I
Now,
see. You're analyzing based on a dating app profile and photographs, things like that.
yep. And this whole thing, and that's why it kind of, as it goes along, when we get to the confident, straightforward, it gets to the point where it's like no thought process, copy paste. However, I do want to say this first, and I don't want this to ever be misinterpreted with the book. Do not just jump to the last thing because it seems the easiest. If your profile is not set up correctly, if you are not a Chad or you don't present yourself as an attractive man, don't go with that. You need to play around with these other things to figure out your groove.
I love that you said that. That fits so much into this space, not just in texting, but in everything. I also do life coaching, and my clientele sometimes is young and is excited. And I don't give prescriptions. I do give tools, and they always want that sexy tool that's like a chainsaw, man. It rips through the wood, but boy, if you mess up, it's going to come back on you and leave you bloody.
hmm And I love that, and that's actually in the conclusion of the book. I call it like this is your tool belt, and I say in it like this book. When you go to do a job, you have a hammer, you have a screwdriver, you have a wrench, but maybe you need a belt sander to finish it. You won't know that unless you're out there and actually trying these things out. So you need to get out there and experience it to understand if these types of things need to occur. And maybe this book is all you ever will need, but the only person who can tell you that is yourself.
Yeah. So for a lot of guys, that very first opener, it's got to be a lot like cold approach. Even though you're in this environment, it's got to feel like, what do I say? Is that what you run into with some of your clients?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I'm trying to do with this book because and actually this bleeds in very well. I plan to build an A to Z catalog of every aspect of dating. So if you need help specifically on getting things started on a dating app, yet you have no issue closing after the fact, this is the perfect book for you. If you have an issue with not approaching a girl when you're out during the day, but actually having a conversation that leads somewhere, there will be a book for that. And that's essentially what I'm building out so that any specific point in time where you're like, this is the piece of game that I'm missing, you can reference one of these and it will go ahead and explain it all for you.
You're building a playbook. A
Exactly.
series of playbooks. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Yeah, so I really do like the idea that you have some openers here, and guys can take a look at it, think about it, and kind of get them over that hurdle of what do I say first. And I'm sure you'll follow up with a book of what do I say next.
That's exactly what the next book is. Yeah. It's going to be all about the conversation and flowing it towards the day.
So let me ask you this. What makes you, in your experience, choose between the five styles? Is there something you'd look for in these dating apps that would make you choose a curated versus a confident, straightforward?
Absolutely. And so I'm just going to run through real quick. So we got the curated, which is picking out something specific, absorbing the whole thing, and then going with it. The generalization, let's say she takes a lot of travel photos, uh, model type photos, like things like that. Making a comment about that that could be somewhat of a backhanded comment, like, "Oh, you love the camera loves you," like something like that. And then even going a step further with the trigger, which is more of a calibrated version of the generalization. And one thing that I do include in the book as an example is that let's say she has in her profile, do not go out with me if you're a Trump supporter. You can go ahead and say something like, my dad golfed with Trump once. And all that's doing is just sparking an emotional response. Like if she's actually honest about her profile and she actually believes that, it's a funny thing, and you're gonna get a reaction out of her.
Yep.
And so that's the trigger. You know, they kind of all build down. Thought provoking is more the open ended like philosophy style questions, kind of questioning what they have in their profile, or just making a comment on something that you see in their profile that build something bigger. And you can see in the book what that would look like. And then the confident, straightforward, personally, is my favorite. And the reason why it's my favorite is because if you have a good profile, you have good photos, then when you do this, you're striking while the iron is hot. So
Mhm.
when you match with a girl, she's interested in that moment. She said okay or swiped on you for a reason. Why are you beating around the bush? And if you're confident in how you look and how you present yourself, then saying, and I won't give it all away.
Yeah.
Then coming forward with that, it just kind of it's a game set match.
Yep.
Like you fit the personality that you're representing.
Yeah, I've seen it, guys. It's really amazing, and the cost of the book is very, very reasonable. I would recommend anybody that's interested in watching this definitely pick up this book because we could all learn a little bit about those openers, and not just, I mean, yeah, it's geared towards dating and it's geared towards human sexual dynamics, but those things play out in other areas of our life. I have to say, in business and meeting, yeah, make it male, female or not, you still make impression with your opener or your text when you're meeting new people. And so you definitely have to gauge the situation, look at it. And I see that here with these five styles where it's really kind of analyzing the profiles and customizing your approach to those in the most effective way possible with the minimal amount of effort. I saw your ratings on how
Mhm.
effective they were, and how much time you'd have to put into it. And I like that because in some cases, it looks to me like this online is somewhat of a volume game in some circumstances. And so you'd want to be very aware of the amount of investment that you're putting into it.
Right, and I think that's one of the biggest issues that we have today. Everybody's stuck to their phones. You know, you'll sit there and you'll just swipe through Instagram or swipe through TikTok, and you're just looking at all this crap. And let's not do that. Let's stop endlessly swiping and let's swipe with a purpose and actually get the results that we're looking for.
Right. And you do teach other aspects of this online game, like profile, all that stuff. I think that's part of your part of what you coach on, right? Is getting
Absolutely. Yeah, I build profiles out for people.
Yep.
I've done it for many guys so far already, and it's just let's get you set up. Let's get the right photos. Typically, I'll have guys send me a large album of things, and I always tell them, don't send me things that you think look good. Send me things that like photos of you that you like, even if they're goofy, even if they're funny, because let's figure out how to represent your personality in the right way because that's the most important thing. That's how you're going to find a good match.
Yeah. And you guys, anybody out there that's listening to this that's interested in dating in today's world, you'll find that there's a sea of abundance out there, but it's almost invisible to you because the reality of modern dating, it falls on our human nature and female nature. They have access to worldwide sexual marketplace, and they're interested in 100% of them are interested in about 15% of the men as being attractive on the surface level for them to be interested in a mate as females become interested in doing this. And this is natural. And since they're so exposed, what it does is it starts to shut out at least 80% of the men out there. And then the reality is there's actually more women on the planet than there are men. So take the time to do something like look at Hud's book and learn how to get a profile. So once you do that, you've got through that, you get some instant rapport, just a little bit, so that you do get that second look. It places you close to that top area, and then he gives you the skills that you need to take this into that video chat. And that's where you can really reaffirm her belief that you're in that top 10% and become very attracted and achieve some actual dating success. I think that you have an unlimited field to play with. You just have to learn the rules of entry.
Thor, I tell you, that video chat becomes an instant game over every single time. Ever since I started doing this, I have never had to go out on a date. It's always a direct to here. And it is so magical when you're able to accelerate it forward and then you show your personality on the video chat. It doesn't have to be more than 15 minutes, and she is comfortable enough to come right over, whether that be a couple days later or whatever. And damn, it is a game changer, and I don't understand it. I argue with a lot of dating coaches about this as to why they don't push it because it is so successful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it we have a pandemic of scarcity of mindset, I think, right now. The pandemic did not help any of us men that had to stay locked down. It seems like it is a desert out there and it is an ocean. What is that saying? Here you are in the ocean, and what you do just for one single drop of non-salty water to drink. But you got to realize that water is non-salty. You just have to figure out how to jump in.
Mhm.
And that's where you come in, Huds, and I really appreciate it. Uh, and anything else to add on the book? And then we'll spend the last few minutes closing it out with what we're up to, and I'll answer some questions a couple guys asked in the chat.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, not much more than that. I kind of gave a little teaser for it. Whether this is, something you're looking to improve upon or not, it's always great to have a reference guide. That's the way I look at it. When I think back to my journey and consuming information, it was better to have more guides more of these reference guys than not. Because that way, whenever I was running into an issue, it's like it sparks something in my head. It's like, wait, I remember I saw this somewhere. And then I can go back to it and figure out, all right, like maybe this is how I should recalibrate what I'm approaching right here. So that's really all I have to say about it. I gave a little bit about it here, and I'm really happy with how it came out, and I'm really excited to see what else I can bring to make sure that, when you think of like Batman and his tool belt, this is one piece now, okay, and we are building every single piece, and once we have all the pieces here, you guys can do anything.
I love it. Where can we find this book, Huds?
Absolutely. So I put down below, if you're on my channel, you'll see the direct link to the book for me. If you're on Thor's channel, and please go support Thor. If you click on that, he gets a little bit of a cut from the sales, and I really appreciate your support, man. So if you appreciate what Thor does, if you appreciate what I do, go ahead and support Thor. Give him a little bit. Yeah, and then also thehudsmen.com. So essentially my name right here, this is my Instagram tag, and it's also my website. So if you type in thehudsmen.com, that's where you can go to see everything that I offer, as well as book a consultation with me.
That's awesome. I really appreciate that. So I'll just let everybody know on the channel what I've been up to. Hey, Darkest Night's going pretty good. So here I am live streaming on RP Thor YouTube channel. I haven't done that in a while. If you've seen some of my other videos, you understand why. We are gearing up that you're going to see some live streams coming up in the next few weeks with some interesting topics. And in March, we're hoping to get some solid schedulable shows out in which, at least in one of them, you'll be able to see me, and I'll be interviewing regular guys that are in the manosphere that are making the difference in a positive way, and they're going to share their stories with us. These are the guys that are on the ground, that have listened to some of the top guys and have taken these tools and are actually building themselves out. So I would love to give those guys a chance and an opportunity to share what they have learned, because that's really what this is all about, is sharing and learning and improving. And the way you do that is share those results, failures and successes. Guys, once again, my expertise is definitely in, the principles of long-term relationship success. I specialize in guys that are struggling with their LTRs or loss of attraction, even guys that are divorced and consider rebuilding that relationship. Come see me at Become Durable. This is what I coach on. My experience level is 30 years in a long-term relationship. So is it all easy? No, but it is somewhat effortless because I adhere to these principles that I've learned from many others over the years, and I have initiated as part of my personality. And you could do that too. I mean, what do we all leave in the end of this life except a legacy? And what do you want to say about yourself? So that's available. Regular coaching rates are available on fitness and other items. But if you want some help in optimizing your life, come see me over here at becomedurable.com and look for the channel to start with some live streaming soon. Hey, P-Dubs, I'll see you too. Anything else you want to add, Huds?
The only last thing I want to add is definitely visit Become Durable. The Dragon Ship, the monthly thing that you have, it is amazing. It is a high quality group of men, and we meet once a month where we get together. We have a speaker come in. We'll go through a certain topic, and then the floor is open. And it is so amazing to have a group that holds you accountable, because it's really hard to find today. And I can't give it praise enough. I think that, Thor, you're doing an absolutely amazing thing. And I just have to say, everybody go check that out.
Oh man, thank you for saying that. I kind of glossed over. I didn't even say that. And you brought it up. And Thor's Dragon Ship is a monthly mastermind that consists of one meeting a month. That's 2 to 3 hours long. And it's about men and men only being able to share different parts of their lives. And it's a place where they can do that, so that when they come out, we can express some of our weaknesses there, and we can make ourselves stronger. And it is an amazing group of men, because Everybody is equal in there and everybody shares the time and is respectful. It's something that's lacking today is that men's club of the past that really serves in lifting us all up. They say a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's what the Dragon Ship's all about. You can find that also. It's a monthly subscription. It's available on becomedurable.com. Thanks, Huds.
Absolutely.
And join and subscribe RP Thor's YouTube channel. Hit the like button.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate it, everybody. And go support us down below.
Thank you.